Hello, and welcome back to my channel Dinar and Dong Updates Global Currency Spotlight. Unraveling the future of the Iraqi dinar and Vietnamese dong. Greetings to all. May joy and success follow you wherever you go. Today, we dive into a compelling topic that's been stirring conversations across financial circles and online communities alike: the evolving narratives surrounding the Iraqi dinar, IQD, and the Vietnamese dong, VND. Speculation about revaluations, economic reforms, and international partnerships has led to intense debates among analysts, news followers, and currency investors. Let's explore the insights, arguments, and developments shaping the expectations for these two currencies in the months ahead. The Iraqi dinar, speculation, and the push for change. Recent updates have placed the Iraqi dinar at the center of investor discussions. At the forefront of these conversations is a group of intel gurus and financial commentators who have been tracking developments in Iraq with great interest. One such voice, known as Militia Man, has drawn attention to the bold economic ambitions Iraq has laid out. He references numerous high-level meetings involving American investors, international bankers, and business leaders. According to him, Iraq is embarking on an aggressive national development strategy, including plans to construct 4 million housing units and establish several industrial zones. In his view, such massive initiatives are nearly impossible to implement at the current exchange rate of 1,310 Iraqi dinars per US dollar. Militiaman argues that the scale and scope of Iraq's economic plans point to an inevitable and necessary revaluation of its currency. He believes the country is preparing for a transition that requires a stronger dinar, potentially ushering in a new era of financial independence and economic revival. A more conservative perspective. However, not all observers share Militiaman's optimism. Another prominent voice in the currency speculation community, Bimpy, offers a more grounded perspective. While Bimpy acknowledges that there may be room for profit and movement in the IQD's value, he advises caution. He suggests that many hopeful investors are clinging to fantasies of overnight wealth. According to Bimpy, these dreams are fueled by misinformation and unrealistic expectations. He notes that if Iraq does indeed move toward a digital financial system, it may execute a deletion of zeros rather than a straightforward revaluation. This process, often misunderstood by retail investors, involves adjusting the nominal value of the currency without necessarily increasing its real purchasing power. Bimpy urges followers to temper their hopes and take a realistic view. Rather than expecting sudden windfalls, he encourages a long-term approach focused on gradual growth and structural reform. The Vietnamese dong, a counterexample to Iraq. Adding a nuanced layer to the discussion is Fulu, who challenges the assumption that Iraq must raise its exchange rate in order to succeed economically. Fulu uses the Vietnamese dong as a counterpoint. Despite Vietnam's thriving export-driven economy and increasing global influence, its currency trades at a very low rate, around 25,575 Vietnamese dong to $1. This, he argues, shows that a low exchange rate is not inherently a sign of economic weakness. According to Fulu, Iraq's desire to strengthen its currency should not be viewed as a prerequisite for progress. He warns against interpreting the dinar's current value as artificial or manipulated simply because it's low. A low exchange rate does not mean a broken economy, he states, calling for a more informed understanding of international monetary policy. Strengthening U.S.-Vietnam ties and the VND's role. While Iraq's financial future garners much attention, Vietnam is also making headlines, particularly due to recent diplomatic and economic developments with the United States. Hennig, another well-known commentator, cites a recent article that revealed the launch of reciprocal trade negotiations between the U.S. and Vietnam. These discussions include efforts to reduce tariffs and strengthen mutual economic cooperation. A pivotal quote from the article highlights Vietnam's commitment to working closely with U.S. officials, referencing an April 4th meeting between Vietnamese General Secretary Tarla Tilda Sensim and former U.S. President Donald Trump. This diplomatic move is viewed as a sign that both nations are serious about boosting their economic ties. It also brings Vietnam's monetary policy under greater international scrutiny. Currency pressure from the United States. Mark Z., another analyst from the currency community, added further detail regarding these trade talks. He pointed out that U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent recently met with Vietnam's Deputy Prime Minister, and one of the key issues on the table was Vietnam's currency exchange rate. According to Mark Z., the U.S. is encouraging Vietnam to consider increasing the value of the dong. Such a move, if realized, would have major implications, not just for Vietnam, but for the broader region and even global currency investors. The idea is that by appreciating the dong, Vietnam could balance trade relations and reduce the impression that it is keeping its currency artificially low to gain a competitive export advantage. Mark Z speculates that these negotiations could be early indicators of substantial change on the horizon, changes that would impact anyone holding or trading Vietnamese currency. Iraq's digital transition, a financial game changer? Meanwhile, Frank, 26, a well-followed figure in the dinar community, provided updates from sources on the ground in Iraq. He recently discussed Iraq's increasing shift toward digital currency. Speaking with a contact known as Sammy, Frank raised the question, does this transition suggest an imminent change in Iraq's exchange rate? Frank argued that it doesn't make much sense to maintain the current rate of 1,310 Iraqi dinars to US dollars within a new digital ecosystem. Sammy responded with a mixed view. While he acknowledged the potential for a fixed exchange rate in a digital framework, he questioned whether any modern financial system would truly launch using a suppressed rate. Historically, such cases are rare. Frank suggests that going digital is more than just a technological upgrade. It may signal a broader financial transformation that includes a change in how the dinar is valued both domestically and internationally. Big banks getting involved. Militiaman also drew attention to the involvement of major international financial institutions, specifically J.P. Morgan Chase. According to recent reports, J.P. Morgan is actively participating in Iraq's economic rebuilding efforts, which include infrastructure investment and banking modernization. Militiaman questions the logic of such a powerful bank investing heavily in Iraq, if the dinar were to remain undervalued for long. He suggests that J.P. Morgan's presence is a clear indicator that a change is coming. Major banks don't bet on stagnant systems, he notes. For him, this is further proof that Iraq is preparing for a financial reset. Improved fiscal performance. Claire, another respected analyst, referenced comments from Iraq's Prime Minister Mohammed Shia al-Sudani, who recently announced a surge in government revenue. According to Sudani, customs revenues have grown by 128%, and tax collections are up by 22% compared to previous years. These financial improvements show that Iraq is gaining stability and increasing transparency in its economic practices. When these reforms are combined with international investment and digital innovation, the overall picture suggests that Iraq is laying the groundwork for a currency shift. Economic reform momentum builds. Nt Goat, a veteran voice in the dinar space, also shared promising news. He emphasized that Iraq's focus has shifted from addressing corruption to achieving real developmental milestones. Infrastructure projects are progressing, and the financial sector is seeing a digital overhaul. One highlight involves Revaluation Bank, a major player in Iraq's banking landscape. Revaluation is now preparing to process foreign transactions using the upcoming digital dinar. The government is reportedly building a new data center to support this transition, yet another step in integrating Iraq with the global digital economy. MNT Goat believes these advancements are not merely symbolic. They represent substantial movement toward the long-anticipated revaluation. Has the RV already happened in Iraq? Adding an intriguing twist, Babism offered a potentially groundbreaking update. Citing insider sources, she claimed that the revaluation, RV, of the Iraqi dinar may have quietly occurred inside Iraq on March 28. However, it has not yet been made public or international. To support her theory, Babism pointed to the Kuwaiti dinar as a historical precedent. During the Gulf War, Kuwait revalued its currency internally on March 24, 1991, and it was only reported internationally on March 25 by major media outlets like the New York Times. The revaluation became fully recognized globally in the days that followed. She suggests that Iraq may be following a similar timeline, having already adjusted its rate internally but waiting for the right political and economic moment to make it official on the world stage. Conclusion: what comes next? The debates surrounding the Iraqi dinar and Vietnamese dong remain rich with speculation and divided opinion. While some expect major changes to come swiftly, possibly through formal revaluations, others warn of drawn-out processes that will take years to unfold. What's clear is that both Iraq and Vietnam are undergoing significant economic transformations. Iraq is transitioning to digital finance, attracting Forex